The substance in the bag had the appearance of a uniform, fine powder, ever so slightly tan, with a faint smell, but nothing like AMT itself. However, upon weighing it out, it is mostly made up of rather crystally chunks. Not like beautiful, grown crystals, but hard, chunky pieces that can be crushed. I needed to make a solution, as my first trial is going to be at only 1 milligram. I weighed out 22 milligrams of the substance, and at that point I realize all I have that isn't tap water is propylene glycol. So I measured out 22 milligrams of PG, got a clean, dry amber vial that holds just over 20 milliliters, and it ended up just filling it, with exactly enough room left to provide the ability to shake it. Rather than break the chunks up, I left them, so as to be able to easily see whether the substance has dissolved. Upon putting the 5 cl AMT in and shaking, the chunks are barely getting smaller, so I prepared a hot water bath and allowed the solution to heat up. Once it reached, I would guess, about 50 degrees Celsius, I checked it, and the biggest chunk was mostly dissolved. My set going into this is that I am extremely tired from too little sleep for a couple of days. I jumped off of opiates to get past my most recent relapse, and yesterday at like 5 AM I took some loperamide. Either the loperamide is still providing relief, or I am just pretty much past withdrawal. I feel pretty good, other than being tired. My setting is at home, about to start a day of work, alone except for my cat. In other words, my usual setting for trialing something where I do not expect strong effects. In reality I don't expect any effects, but I need to work this up very slowly. This study. Wagman L., Brand SD, Kevin A. PV, Maurer HH, Meyer Mr. In vitro monoamine oxidase inhibition potential of α-methyltryptamine analog new psychoactive substances for assessing possible toxic risks. Suggests that 5 cl AMT has a bit more than twice the MAO-A inhibition as AMT itself, with an IC50 value of 0.25 at MAO-A, and much weaker inhibition at MAO-B, with a value of 80, where AMT itself has an IC50 of 0.38 at MAO-A. In theory, this should mean it is somewhat less than twice as strong an MAO inhibitor. It is also a pure dopamine serotonin releaser, and has more substantial agonist activity at 5-HT2A than AMT does. The LINK study does not explore 5-HT2A agonism, but I have been told it is the case by someone knowledgeable. This suggests that, if it is more potent than AMT, which it is reasonable to assume it might be, since 5-MeO-AMT is extremely more potent than AMT, it has the potential to be an amazing recreational drug, and perhaps even less dangerous than AMT, but we cannot assume that by any means. Upon checking the PG solution, I am not 100% confident it is dissolved and not just suspended, as I seem to be seeing a bunch of fine particles floating around in there. So I am going to let that solution sit around for a day or so and see if anything has settled to the bottom. In the meantime, I prepared a water solution of 5 mg to milliliters, 4 milliliters of water in a dram vial, with 20 mg of 5 cl AMT, the lowest amount I trust my scale to be reasonably accurate with. I used tap water filtered with a Brita filter, so the chlorine at least should be gone. After shaking for 30 seconds, the solution looks perfectly clear. I have had my normal caffeine upon waking so far today, and that's it. The caffeine succeeded in making me feel awake, rather than having trouble keeping my eyes open. D+0. I ingested 0.2 milliliters of the water solution, or 1 mg of 5 cl AMT. What a strange taste. I was keeping it in a baggie, in a box, along with a baggie of MCPR, which is such a stinky chemical, or whatever impurity is left over in it is anyway, with a strange melted/burned plastic smell. I smell that same smell when I smell the baggie of 5 cl AMT, and I tasted a little when I ingested it. There was an additional taste that is leaving an almost sweet aftertaste. I'm not sure how much the taste is due to picking up some MCPR smell, and how much is inherent to 5 cl AMT. I am going to spend a little time now getting my newest shims into vials, as my whole closet smells a little like MCPR. D+30 minutes. I actually seem to have alerts. I wonder if it's placebo. My body is reacting like I am coming up on a stimulant. My bowels are churning with an impending stimulant shit feeling. I have a pleasant feeling in my extremities. If this is truly so potent, then wow. D+1 hour and 15 minutes. There is no doubt I feel something, and what I feel is very nice. I feel energetic, but there is little to no peripheral stimulation. There is a flutter in my stomach, and I find myself smiling. It is impossible for me to believe this is placebo right now. In fact, I really want to redose 1 mg. I shouldn't since I am trying to work up slowly, but this doesn't feel dangerous right now, Granted, it has only been a little over an hour, and I would quite simply just like to feel more of this fledgling feeling. So, I'm going to redose 1 mg, bringing my total to 2 mg. D plus 2 hours. Feeling just a bit more. It's a really comfortable feeling. My head and face feel good, and I have a slight amount of a feeling in my eyes that it is easy to imagine could become nystagmus at a higher dosage. I am tapping my leg a bit, but not clenching my teeth at all. There is a slight pulsing pleasurable feeling through my toes and fingers, which is common for entactogenic substances for me. Nothing whatsoever visually. It doesn't feel psychedelic right now, really. D plus 2 hours and 20 minutes. I am finding it hard to concentrate on work, not because it is difficult to do the work, but because I would rather be posting on blue light or going outside or doing something else. It's been 4 hours and I have gotten almost nothing done. I am quite certain this stuff is going to be pretty recreational. In fact, it is rather recreational right now, but just really mild. D plus 2 hours and 45 minutes. I feel really good, I have to say. I am also horny, and I think this drug would be great for sex. AMT has the surprising property of being great for sex, surprising because, on literally every other serotonin releaser, my ability to get and maintain an erection is severely limited, whereas on AMT, there is no restriction in that department at all, and in fact performance is substantially enhanced. The same seems to probably be true for 5-CL-AMT. I took it upon myself to test out the sexual properties, and orgasm was enhanced, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be great for sexual enhancement all around. I am finding myself really desiring some additional euphoric drug. If I could use opiates, that would be the shit. Sadly, I cannot, because for me opiate use is a guaranteed spiral down into shit. I have no trace of any sort of withdrawal feeling, which is awesome. Loperamide should have worn off by now, so I think I may just be in the clear. I was feeling slightly shaky earlier this morning, before I took this drug, so either it cleared up, or 5-CL-AMT is counteracting the slightly shitty feeling of end-stage opiate withdrawal. I think I may add a small to moderate amount of MCPR later after work, and the thought of this makes me feel less focused on wishing I could add to this feeling. I took 2 hits of Delta-8 THC just now, which is normal. I've been using it daily. In fact, 2 hits is much less than I usually use. I feel it, but it is just a hint. I do think it has increased the positive physical effects and put my mind into an even better place. D plus 3 hours and 45 minutes. The last hour really flew by. I'm almost done with a tedious work task. I think it has leveled out. I wonder how long it will last? I feel more or less the same, very pleasant with a pleasurable body glow, and a nice head buzz. Mentally I feel only a bit altered, mostly I feel excitable, in a positive way. I have strong motivation for things like playing music and writing and socializing, not so much for work. Nothing whatsoever in the visual department. At this dosage this is a pure entactogenic stimulant, but really not stimulating per se, I mean a little, but no side effects in the body at all. This is clearly not a full dose, probably just threshold. I am very hungry now. All I have had so far today is a protein shake when I woke up. AMT and 5-MeO-AMT give me substantial, even profound, lack of appetite. Last time I took AMT, my girlfriend was worried about me because I couldn't make myself eat all day except for a few bites. And my stomach felt unsettled. This has no effect on my appetite at all, and my stomach feels fine, other than being hungry. When I got up to make food, I found myself moving my body in a similar way that AMT makes me move my body. It's a sort of exaggerated movement of my limbs. It feels good to fling my arm at the refrigerator door handle in order to grab it, rather than gently extend it, for example. I also found it easy to briefly forget what I was doing, and found myself walking back and forth a few times with no clear idea of the purpose of my movement. I find this amusing and it is mild, though again, clearly this is not a full dose, and my guess is that it will get pretty spacey/mungy like AMT does at higher doses. My body feels lighter and more energetic than it does with AMT. AMT has stimulation, to be sure, but it is paradoxically sedating, too. As in, I can't sleep and I get restless limb energy, but I don't feel up to running or exerting myself. Right now I feel like I could get a good workout in, and my body feels more energetic than it does with AMT for sure. No pupil dilation at all right now. I took my blood pressure and the average of 3 tries was 131/55, at 54 beats per minute. Which seems right on for me, perhaps a tiny bit higher systolic than normal, but only just. D plus 5 hours and 30 minutes. I feel it more in my head now, and there is a faint stomach flutter that could either be excitement or the precursor to stomach unease at a higher dose. I have slight heartburn, seemingly from my late breakfast, which was greasy and had cheese in it. It sometimes happens but not usually. I'm about to have a phone meeting at work, which I'm fine with, no worries there. I have been quite unproductive. I just want to talk to people and post on blue light, and I really want to split firewood. That sounds fun. I will do so after the meeting. Work is less busy than it has been, so I should be fine to take some time off before the end of the day. I feel higher than I did earlier, there is a bit more body presence, and my perception is a little more altered. This might possibly be very long-acting. It certainly wouldn't be surprising given AMT's long duration and 5-MeO AMT's even longer one. I mean, AMT takes a good 4 to 5 hours to peak all the way, so I guess this is no surprise. I feel good still, for sure. I wish I was not working, it's kind of a drag. On reflection, I think I may be feeling edges of opiate withdrawal now, as my eyes are getting teary and I suddenly have the desire to stretch my arms and legs a lot. My friend just messaged me and said my package of gabapentin arrived at his house though, and furthermore he is coming over to deliver it. Score. I'm going to give him a couple of doses of CPR for his trouble. What good timing that was. D plus 7 hours and 50 minutes. It seems less strong all of a sudden. I took 600 milligrams of gabapentin about 30 to 45 minutes ago, and am about to take 300 milligrams more. I don't feel my teary eyes and runny nose abating yet, so I don't think the reduction is 5-cl AMT effects is due to gabapentin, not that gabapentin even usually reduces the effects of psychedelics. I spent the last hour and a half going to the grocery store, chopping firewood, and meeting my friend. My friend and I talked for a bit. I felt slightly self-conscious in a psychedelic way, though he was feeling pretty down and I think he was feeling self-conscious, and I pick up on vibes really easily. Chopping wood was fun, and it was good to give my muscles something to do. I love chopping firewood anyway, it's the most satisfying form of exercise that I can think of. My girlfriend just got home, and I feel a bit self-conscious, just a bit, but she is also not feeling very chipper, due to being tired from work, so it's hard to say whether it's me or not. Could be if either of them, my friend or girlfriend, had come in bubbling with happiness, I would have felt nothing but positivity. In any case, I feel an increased sensitivity to the energy of others. D plus 9 hours. I feel more down, and the gabapentin has kicked in pretty well, so I don't feel teary-eyed and restless anymore. My girlfriend started crying pretty hard after she got situated. I thought it was because of being tired, but it's because she was thinking about my cat who passed away recently, while she was watching her and I was away, and feeling guilty and sad about that. I comforted her and cried some myself. It was sad but cathartic. I value every time I can cry because it lets the grief out somewhat. I have a hard time with grief and I seem to automatically wall off from it, and then it hurts me inside and causes me to be self-destructive. I realize this, but I still can't break through it. It takes me a long time to process and I wish this was not so. Then we transitioned to talking about drug legalization and what is going on with weed and psychedelics now. It came up because at work we just started dealing with doing research into the legal weed market. I also made a fire in the wood stove. I feel chilly, just a bit though, and it is actually pretty cold outside, below freezing. I do not feel a sense of being extra cold like I get with AMT, though of course, that could develop at a full dosage. I believe it happens because of the flood of serotonin. I tend to take big doses of AMT, 75 milligrams or so, of the succinate. I like to get really high on AMT when I do it. The effects have trailed off to just a light buzz. The heartburn I had earlier went away. I do not believe it had anything to do with 5-cl AMT. D plus 10 hours and 30 minutes. I have been watching TV with my lady, feeling rather sedated. I actually uncontrollably dozed off twice. Granted, I am a little behind on sleep. I want to stay up and work on some stuff. She goes to bed at 9 now and wakes up at 6 a.m., which usually wakes me up. I really like staying up and being the last one awake though. We'll see. Either way, I think I can sign off on this report now. Nothing more is happening, though I still feel a little bit of a glow. D plus 11 hours and 45 minutes. One more note, I am obsessively chatting with my friends in text messages now and I feel much more awake. I feel extremely chatty all of a sudden, which must be the gabapentin, but I believe the 5-cl AMT is still playing a part. Feeling really nice. I do need to go to bed soon though. Overall, I am impressed and encouraged by this experiment. It was undoubtedly active at 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams increased that activity. It was mild, and next time I will probably go for 5 milligrams all at once and see where that lands. The effects I got were very pleasant and had little to no downsides. Also, for the record, I ate aged cheese. Before I thought that maybe I shouldn't in case of MAO inhibition, and was totally fine. That was before I took my blood pressure that turned out to be pretty normal. Nothing about this dose felt dangerous or stressful to my body or mind. I look forward to the next experiment, but I think I will do it on a weekend when I don't have to work. It was quite distracting from work and I found it a drag and was pretty unproductive. I like to trial small doses of new drugs when I'm working though. I work from home, and it establishes a good baseline of how the drug interacts with normal activities. In this case, it just made me really want to be doing fun stuff, rather than sitting around doing tedious programming tasks. It was fine, it just wasn't ideal. A final note, to anyone reading this, feeling like they want to try this chemical now, for the love of God, please proceed with caution. Do not take this report as evidence that this drug is safe. If you try it, start as low or lower than I have, and proceed with extreme caution. I believe the sum total of everything we know about this drug in terms of actual subjective effects in humans can be summarized in this report. If there are others, please point me to them. This initial trial makes me feel excited about this drug's promise, but it may very well prove dangerous, and it could react very differently for you based on any number of factors.